Yes, guys. So today, so yesterday we have completed the software distribution part, right? So the application catalog and different types of distribution points, all that we have discussed. So all these days, when we are talking about inventory management or even during the software distribution session, so multiple times we have discussed about reporting services, right? So we have discussed about, okay, SCM will come up with some built-in reports, and then we discussed how to create. I told you that I will be creating some custom reports and all that, right? So let's see. Let's first build a reporting services point. Okay, let's browse through the existing reports, and then I will take you through creating some custom reports. Okay. So just like for any other role, any other feature in SCCM, we have a separate specific server for that. We call it either management point or distribution point, right? Yesterday we discussed about application catalog, website, and web service point, right? So similarly, even for this, we have a reporting services point. Okay, and before we install reporting services point, there are some prerequisites. So one is the SQL. SSRS needs to be created, and obviously IAS, right? So we have IAS requirement everywhere. So yesterday also we have looked into IAS requirements for application catalog. Even when installing the distribution point, we required IAS. Same goes with management point as well, right? So now on this server, we already have SQL installed, the same server where we have management point, DP, and app catalog points. So we already have SQL installed on them, right? And if you remember, while installing SQL, if you have the SQL installation video, please go through it. While installing SQL, what we also did was we have installed the reporting services native, right? The SSRS part was also installed, right? And IAS, since we are working on the same box, it was already installed, and we have so all the features which are required for IAS were already selected, right? Just we'll quickly go through to check whether the prerequisites are already there. So the first thing is Management Studio. So when you check in the SQL database, you'll find the DB for reporting service. Right, so we have a report server and report server temp DB, right guys? So this is already there. This is what we have done when we created when we have installed SQL. So this is automatically created because we have selected reporting services native and other things, right? And now if you want to check the SSRS part, you can go to here, say reporting. Here I have reporting services configuration manager. So these are the prerequisites for having having SCM reports, or prerequisites for reporting services point. So the server name is the same, May SCM server, and the instances, as you remember, we are going with the default instance. Even for our SCM database, we have the same default instance, MS SQL server. Even for our application catalog, we have the same default instance, right? Same goes with reporting services as well. See, it says the reporting server mode is in native. So there are two modes. One is native, the other one is SharePoint. So we are creating this native mode. Okay. And if you go to the web service URL, it shows that it has already hosted the web service for report server. So when you click here, So I gave the username and password. So it says Microsoft SQL Service Reporting Services version. That means as far as SSRS is concerned, the SQL Service Server Reporting Services is concerned, it has installed and it is working fine. Only thing is now we have to we have to create a reporting service point which will create all these different reports on this particular website, right? And as I told you already, we know IIS piece is installed, so let me show that as quickly. So if you go to add rules and other features, wait a minute, it's still populating. So if you go to add rules and features, next, you'll find the web server, the IIS is already installed, right? And almost all the features are also selected there. So if you're doing this on a different server, if it is not on MP or on the site server or DP or application catalog, if this is going to be separately a different server, make sure that you are also installing IIS and its features, right? So these were already selected as part of initial installations. You can go through the IIS installation video which we had discussed earlier to just have a quick revision kind of. Fine. So IIS is done, SQL is there, SSRS is there, right guys? So all the prerequisites are met. So now how are we going to install SSRS, reporting service point? So you go to administration node. So whenever you want to add a new site role, what do you do? There are two ways. One, if you're doing it on a completely new server, new box, right? Then you right click here and say create site system server, right? So that you have to give a remote server's name or the FQDN and then install the appropriate role. In this case, since we are installing one more role on the same server, you right click the server, say add. Instead of create a site server, you'll say add site system role. Say next. So here it will show you all the different system roles. Right. So out of this already, since we have worked on application catalog management on DP, it is not showing those. So the ones that is left over here is reporting service point. So what it says, a reporting services point integrates with SQL Server reporting services to create and manage reports for configuration managers, right? So we already have the SQL Server reporting services, SSRS. We just checked, it's working fine. Now we need to integrate with that. So say next. Okay. So you can verify if the folder and everything exists. So it says successfully verified, right? And what would be the account with which we will run? So we have standard our existing account, which is MailApp administrator. So next. Then, so whenever you're creating a new role, you know where to go and check the log file. I already explained earlier. You go to C program files on this server, configuration manager, logs, So in this case, since it is S reporting service point, so you need to have a setup.log file for that. There you go, SRS reporting service setup. So it says the srsrp.ms exited with the return code 0, installation was successful, and the role setup completed, right? So now you have the role ready. So if you remember earlier when we are going to this monitoring node under this reporting piece, there were no reports here, right? See, as you can see, it says no items found. So once this reporting services point is installed, okay, it will take a couple of minutes to configure, and then you'll find a bunch of reports here. Similarly, when you go to reporting, you will have the URLs here. So you no need to come to console to to run reports or to view reports. Even somebody who does not have access to console, they can also directly access this particular URL and look at the reports. So let me click here. It will be slowly populating all the reports and creates multiple folders for each section. Okay, so you have configuration manager May. So underneath this, it will be creating folders. As you can see, administrative security it created, right? So slowly you'll find for each of the activities like inventory management, software distribution, then for the collections, then you'll have something related to software updates management, operating system deployment. Like that, you'll have multiple folders, and in each folder you'll have respective reports. So let me refresh to see more folders now. Right now you can see alerts and asset intelligence. Keep refreshing, you'll get more folders. And also in the console, here also if you find under reports, now you'll find, see there are bunch of reports, right? So you have reports related to client push, the client status, and all those things. So while it is loading, so Anil, I see you have a question. Go ahead, Anil.
Yeah, Manohar. Can we, like I see, when we are sharing this web URL with L1 or L2 administrator, okay? So can I, like, just I want to give access to few of the this only. So can we?
So you mean to say that you don't want to give access to
Yeah.
everyone?
Yes. Yes.
The thing here is like they're only viewing the reports, right? So by default, report viewer is a default setting. They're not they're not making any changes, or they're not creating reports. So if you want to do that, see, we'll go back to our earlier point wherein you go to administration node, security, right? So here you are creating a user, and to that user
Okay.
you are giving a security role, right? So in this security role you have the a role specific to reporting,
Okay.
right? So you can create a role and say
Yes.
he will have only access to the wait a minute, let me show that. Or you can also create a custom role with a defined scope, read only analyst. So you can see he has options to read and run reports, because this guy is a read-only analyst. So all he can do is for everything, for applications, for boundaries or everything, he can only run reports and read them. He does not have access to create reports or make any changes. So you can put such candidates into read-only analysts.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes.
So create a user. So basically what you will do here is you right click and create a user. Say suppose the L1 candidate, right click and create a user for him. Then assign here the security role assigned is full administrator. For him you'll assign read only analyst. That will take that. Okay. Yeah, Manju.
So where we have to add him, like in which place we add him, then he will be having such
See,
restricted.
okay. So let me quickly show you. I'll add a group.
And like one more thing that in that service SQL service reporting page, we also can have our own folders or something like we can customize or not possible.
You're asking in this location, right? You're asking in this location. Can
Yes.
you create a, yeah, you can create your own folder. You can create your own reports.
That too again we need to create here itself, or again where we have to come via report, I mean, doing the steps
No, no,
how
no.
we get done
No.
here.
You can create a new folder here. You can create reports here. You don't need to go to console to create reports. You can create from this site itself. You can create reports.
Okay.
Anyways, I'll show you how to create reports. Okay. So now, if you're going to the just for a small demo purpose, let's think that you have created a new user. This is just to explain you how the security roles concept will work. Let's assume under users, right? So currently you don't have many users here, so you just create a new user, call him some John. Okay, and this John guy, let's assume that he is our L1 guy. Let him change password if required. Okay, so I just created a user. So what will happen now in Sccm? By default, if you see in the users, the only user it has is anything related to the built-in users. That's what you see here. You don't have this. You will not find this John guy here. You have 22 items, right? So when will that the John user will come here? You remember we did our discovery, right? And the user discovery by default it runs once in 7 days. And you wanted to just run the delta discovery, so you can the delta discovery will happen anyways once in 5 minutes. Either you can wait for 5 minutes or else you do run full discovery now and go back to assets and compliance. And you remember I told you the log file, just to revise to you, the log file related to this is AD user discovery. Where is it? So this is AD user discovery log file. If you see here, it will show that it found a John account and it will add to the SIM console. See, it says discovered object with this is the path. The username is John, right? So it found that. So obviously by now it must have already added to your console as well. So if you refresh now, you should find 23 items here. Okay, you see 23 there. And down below you'll have the John user. There you go. Right. So now what I'm trying to do here is under administration, administrative users, add user or group. I browse. Okay, either I can browse and I can give the user. So who is the user now? Is John. Check names. And then Assign security role. What is the role I want to give him? I want to give him a read-only analyst. Say okay, right? So what is the scope? Any specific instance? If you want to give him only on one particular collection or one set of computers, then you can select that, or else you can say just the default instance, right? So it is saying all instances of the objects that are related to the assigned security role, or only the instance of the objects that are assigned to the specific security scope or collection. So you can, if you want to assign it to a specific collection, you can always add, and you can define that particular collection or particular security scope, right? So here we are saying go with the default security scope. What and all a read-only analyst will get, just go with the default security scope, right? So now John is a read-only analyst. Now what will happen if I let me try to do this. If I go here to meet S01, start this device. Let's assume that I log in this with John. Switch user. He's logging for the first time. It might take a little time. And what is the URL? HTTP may sccm/reports, right? Okay. And meanwhile, you can see there are so many folders created. And okay, the machine is up. Windows 7 machine is up. Let me go to the Internet Explorer. Does not have requirement, verify that sufficient granted and Windows user have been addressed. UAC restrictions have been addressed. Okay. So this is something not related to Sccm. Okay. I'm logged in as, you must be logged in as the administrator to make this change. However, okay, that's UAC which is blocking it, not from Sccm though. But the moment he, John logs in, he will be only able to see the reports. So just give me a couple of minutes. I'll log in as a administrator and turn off the UAC. Yeah, Manju, go ahead.
No, I was trying to say like from here only you can take administrative rights and then like what?
No, it says that you need to be logged in as admin because it is specific to UAC, right? If it would have been something else, you can take a command CMD with administrator privileges and you can do it. But in this case, it's different.
I thought this user doesn't have administrative rights, that's why.
You want to also check from remote machine if with SCM administrator, if I'm able to, you know, access or not, access the reports. Then we can think about John. Okay, as an administrator, you're able to access the reports now. So let me check as John if I'm able to do it or not. basically he should have only view reports. Okay, does not require permission. Verify that sufficient have been granted. And UAC, I think, let me check UAC now. I think UAC has been addressed. UAC has been addressed, so that is not blocking here. Let me go back to the console in that case. Sccm console. Did we miss anything here? So when we assign him, let me go to John's properties. Security roles, he is a read-only analyst. So grant permission to view all configuration manager objects, right? Okay, and the security scope he has let me just add all security scope instead of default. Okay, so there you go. So as part of the SCCM, okay, before we go back to SCM, let me check on the test machine. So what are the things that he is able to do now? So all he can do is, see, you can see only folder settings, right? He can view folder settings and then he can go to any of these reports. For example, if he wants to look into a wait a minute here. Okay, so if he wants to look into any report related to software distribution or hardware related, hardware in general, computer information for a specific computer, single computer, right? So if he runs this report, hope this is not going to internet. I guess, okay, there's no internet, fine. So the computer name, so let me give May test 01 view report. It should get the default hardware inventory of this machine, right? The general information. Okay, so it says that May test 01 is it is a Windows 7 machine, right? It is giving its version, physical memory, IP address, processor, and manufacturer model, and all this. So this is the default. So this is what he is able to see from here. Whereas, and just observe that there are no other values for him at the top. That means if you go here, all he can do is just view report. And if you are clicking on configuration manager May, all he has is folder settings. He doesn't have any other option. When you go to as an SCM administrator, if you see See here, he can create a new folder, new data source. He can build a report, right? He can upload a file. There are multiple things that an administrator can do. Right, Anil? Anil, I see you have raised hand. Go ahead, Anil.
Can we ping this URL now? I think from our laptops as well.
No, you cannot. This is just my URL, right? My SCM reports is something which is hosted internal. So if I have a production and network, then that's a different story. It's
Uh,
in, it's
if you
internal.
mail, yeah, go on.
No, what I'm saying is my May SCCM server, okay, it is not contacting outside. My SCCM server is not contacting outside. It is specific to my company, and that's not available outside. But if you are in production if you are in production environment, okay, for example, if you're in production environment and your customer wants these reports to be available from anywhere, yes, he can have that hosted, right? And when anybody goes to mayscm.mailab.com and then /reports, yes, it will go to that particular report section. They can access it, but then they need to have their corporate user ID and password.
Yes.
Yep.
And if you want to give a console access, how we can?
Console access in the sense to whom?
The SSM console, the L1, L2, yes.
Yeah, the same
Not the
thing.
full access, like if you,
Yeah, the same thing goes, just like what we did here to John read-only list. So here
okay.
you can add him into one more security role, right? You can add one more security role to him, and that depends. So if you want him console access, when you're saying console access, even now he has console access. Even now, John read-only list doesn't mean that he has only access to view reports. He can also access console, but then he can view everything. Like he can see the collections, he can see the boundaries, everything, but he cannot create collections or create boundaries. But say suppose his job is to just create collections, right? Or his job is to do software administration. In that case, accordingly, you can select this application administrator, application author, or if he is only doing OSDs, then operating system deployment manager. So accordingly, he will get access onto the console. So even now, he has
Select this OSD ones. Can you select the OSD ones?
sure. So if you see here, it says grants permissions to create operating system images and deploy them to computers. Administrative users who are associated with the role can manage operating system, installation packages and images, task sequences, drivers, boot images and state migration. Wait a minute. State migration points as well. Okay. State migrations. That's it. So these are all the things he is getting access into as part of OSD manager. He is not getting access into, as you can see, there is no permission which is giving access into applications, creating applications or software update management or creating boundaries, discovery methods, nothing. It's very specific to OSD. Right, Anil? Anil, is this clear?
Yes, Manu.
Okay. So similarly, you can add any one of those roles, right? And when you install this console on his machine, like if he's accessing from May-01, you need to install the you need to install this SCM admin console there. And then when you, when he opens the console with his credentials, very limited access he will have. So you can, I will see if I can show that to you. Say apply. Okay. So, run as a different user. So what is the thing? What is his permissions? John and so now I'm logging in as John. Let's see what kind of permissions he'll have. Okay, first thing is I told he will have permissions to view and not create anything, right? So if you go to devices, he can import the devices because now he is also having operating system deployment permissions, if you remember, right? So as you can see, I cannot right click. When I'm trying to right click, it is not giving me create device collection. So already if a collection is existing, he can see he has show members to that. As you can see, right? He cannot add any new computers there. He just have show members. And if he goes to software library, application management, and go to the miscellaneous apps, so he can view the application that we created. But if I'm trying to create a new application, ideally he should not. See, when I'm trying to right click, it doesn't take. He cannot create a new application there, right? When it comes to operating system deployments, task sequences, see, when I right click, he has the option to create task sequence. Operating system is right click, add operating system. So anything related to operating system, he has options when I'm doing right click, add boot image and other things. But to applications, there is no right click, it's not working. Even I guess the same thing will happen even with the packages. So here he can distribute the content for this application or the package. He can distribute the content, but there's no option to deploy. As you can see, he cannot deploy to anyone. He can just distribute the content, but he cannot deploy. So that's how it all works. Is it clear, Anil?
Yes, Manohar. One more doubt. Can't we share this console as a web portal? Because like I say, in my company, I'm accessing it through web only.
You're accessing it through,
Maybe,
maybe it
yeah,
is,
web.
maybe it is something created by in your company as a in-house console or something like that. Maybe are you seeing the same interface what you're seeing here? I don't think so.
No, 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 no. That's only limited access, and that too, even it's designed for the help desk to like a initial support, as a taking a remote or a who logged in or where he is logged in. So
So
this type of.
that is something which your company has built in. That's a yeah, that's something your company has built in for your administrator, so that they don't get access to the console. Okay, so maybe it could be a HTA application, HTML based application, or a web console, right? But that's not by default. You get it from SCM. From SCM, if somebody
Okay.
so if SCM somebody wants, all that they have to do is install this admin console onto their machine. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Is there any options to do like that?
No, 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 no. That's what I'm saying, right? So maybe in your company, the developers they might have created a web console, because as I told
No.
you, SCM comes with a software development kit. SDK will come, right? So you can use that SDK and create web consoles or any HTA based applications, wherein your administrators, they or the L1 support guys, they will not have access to the console, but in the backend you're giving already permissions from the console. The permissions what I just showed you, that is what which will take into place. Okay, it's only the interface which was developed by your company.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so what will happen here is under C program files x86 configuration manager, you have this admin console. Okay, and this is these are the files related to your admin console, right? So what you can do is, if you remember in our initial session, okay, here you have SQL Server DVD now, but if you have the SCM ISO, SCM DVD, when you double click, there is an option just to install admin console. Okay, so you can run that and install only admin console on the machine, or you can also copy paste the admin console binaries and install it, push it from SCM as an application, so that if 50 technicians they require SCM console, you can create one package called admin console and deploy it to all these 50 machines, right? So clear, guys?
No, no. Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes, Manju.
right now we since we have configured here, so we know that what is the link, what is the path for that web for the reporting console. Uh, but what I mean, in my production area, in my company, I don't know what is the link for that. How do I access? So is any place there is that path is I will be able to view what will be
Yes,
the
yes.
link.
So it will be the same everywhere. So basically what will happen is, if you go to monitoring, reporting, see, the reporting manager is always wherever you have hosted your reporting server. So HTTP, that server name, in my case it may seem is a server name, /reports. So in your production, wherever you have reporting server, it will be that and then /reports. So if you, even if you have access to console, go to monitoring and reporting. So you'll find that URL here itself, right?
Okay.
So let's go back to the reports. I guess it's okay. It is opening as John. Am I on? Okay, on SCM server. Okay, the console I think I've opened with John's account, right? So that's the reason when I clicked, it is also. Let me close the console and open it as administrator. Go to monitoring, reporting. Administrator. Okay. Right, guys. So let me show you a couple of reports. You have already looked into the inventory management report, right? So you have for general hardware inventory, then specific to memory, modem, network adapter, and all this stuff. And even before that, you can check the client push status. Let me change the view. Okay. So client push installation status, installation status details for a specific site, right? Or the complete summary or for a specified site. So what it will give you is, if you want to check for a specific site like May, in our case we only have one site, right? If you have multiple sites and on a specific site, how is the client push installation is going on, out of how many missions, how many failed or how many succeeded. If you want, you can directly go to the summary, so it will give you final numbers, right? Or if you want detailed information, you can go to the details. So if I click on summary, see, the reporting is a little bit slow. It depends on the, my server, right? My server is already overloaded. I have multiple roles on that, and it just got some, I guess, 2 GB or 4 GB of RAM. So it says scripts are not allowed. So let me do one thing. It says, what is that? Active scripting is disabled. Let's enable active scripting. Guys, you remember where exactly it will be? I think at the custom level, right? Here I can make change.
Yeah.
Hello scriptlets. Active scripting. Enable. Okay, so it gives me access to download. So date range in all, because I know anyhow it will come up with just one computer. Yeah, Anil?
No. I think it's
Okay.
accident.
Okay, no problem. Right, so it shows client push installation. I have targeted one computer and that one computer is completed. If it fails or not started or retrying, so this is where you can get the summary. Okay, you can tell, okay, out of total of 100 machines, this number of machines have installed, this number of machines are not installed. But then you don't have a detailed summary. You don't know what exact which machine and why it failed and where it failed and all that. It is just a summary report. If you want details under client push, you have installation status details. You can click there, select a value, say all. See, now it says May test 01 is the computer name, last attempt so and so date, so number of retries so and status complete. Now you have detailed information, right? So if you have 100 machines, it will show what is the error, when did it try and how many retries it did, right? And what is the final status? If the status is complete or failed or retried, so now you have computer name and other details as well, right? So similarly, this is just for the client portion. So similarly, you have for different activities. So let me take you to software distribution, because that's where we have extensively worked, like package and program deployment. So you remember we have deployed, I think, what is the package we deployed? Let me go back here to software library. I think packages, miscellaneous, Adobe Reader. Yeah. So is there a deployment? Yes, there is a deployment. So we have pushed Adobe Reader. So let's check what happened to Adobe Reader package. For example, you want to check, I have deployed Adobe Reader on some X number of machines. So what is the status? So when you click package and program deployment, so you have all kinds of permutations and combinations that you can think of. So it says all deployments for a specified package and program. So say suppose if you are deploying a package to 100 different collections, you have different collections. Okay. So when you're deploying for 10 different collections, that means you have 10 different deployments, right? So it will show all the different deployments for a specific package and program and what is the status, right? Or if you have to a specified collection, okay, or to a specific computer, not to the collection, inside that collection exactly you wanted to know what happened with Day11, or to a specific user, right? So this way, for every granular information that you require, there is a report. So let's assume we click on for specified collection, we know the collection, right? So say click here, select the collection. What is the collection name? We have created explicitly, we have created a collection called installed Adobe Reader. So this is the collection we know, view report. So it says this is the deployment name, Adobe Reader. Okay, this is the ID and all the other information. Now when you click here, it will take you to your granular data. So it says, so accepted on one machine, succeeded on one machine. You remember the other day somebody asked me, like, how do you know if the machine is offline? So how would I know whether it failed because the machine is offline, or it failed because there is actual error? I told before, if the machine itself do not receive the policy, you'll get to know it. So this is where, say suppose there are 10 machines and only 2 machines are online, 8 machines are offline, then it will say accepted 2, and other 8 machines it is not accepted. That means other 8 machines the policy never went, right? So in this case, accepted is one machine and succeeded also one machine, right? So if you want to see what is the machine which accepted and at what time it got the policy, click here, accepted. It will say May-01. Okay, last accepted message on so and so, it has received the program at what time? On 19th May 2:38 a.m. That's when it has received the policy, right? Now if you go back to the report, because of this it is a little bit clumsy here. So go back to the report and click succeeded. So now it says it succeeded on program completed with success on 2:40 a.m. You remember 2:38 a.m. it got the policy and 2:40 a.m. it completed the installation. So it took 2 minutes and program completed with success. Let's say suppose if we had any other issue, error, then at the last execution result it will put that error. Here it will say it failed, and then here you will get the error code with the description and other details. Right guys? So this way you have a detailed information at what time it got the policy, at what time it failed or succeeded, how many retries happened, and all that information. So in this case, since we had successful installations, you're seeing everything green, right? So similarly, we can also check for application. Yeah, Kanil.
If the machine is offline, the report will say it's accepted or
Not accepted, right? So it is not accepted. If the machine itself is offline, that means the policy never reached that machine, right? So it will say it did not, not accepted. The policy was never accepted. Yeah. So
uh,
let me show you application, because I remember in application what we did purposefully, we have failed one application, right, by giving a wrong dummy detection method. So it should show it here. You go to application monitoring. Let me change the view, details view. So all application deployments, then application compliance, per asset, and as I told you, you have detailed reports, right? So let's go to the all application deployments. Select the application. So let's select, I think the one which failed is Adobe Reader, if I'm not wrong. So start date and end date. So for the last 1 month, we report. Collection is, I guess we have pushed it to this collection. Okay, so finally it was succeeded, and if you click on view current data, so it says success on one machine, that is this machine. Let me click on that machine. I want to show you that it should tell you like initially it was failed and then it succeeded, right? Maybe it's not this report, because in this report it is showing the final result. So let's go back to the software distribution part. Configuration may details view. What are the other reports? Let me go by the collection. All resources in a specific collection. Okay, this is about talking about the resources in a collection. Then it must be application monitoring itself. Okay, application deployments per asset. I know it is May test 01. We report. So it says it was successfully installed. If I go to deployment, okay, somehow we are not getting into the report which will show you the earlier failure status. Really, you should have that as well. Just give me a minute, guys. Mhm. I'm not able to get it in this report. But that's not an issue. Even if you want to get it in the next session, I'm going to explain you how to create custom reports. We ourselves can create this information if it is not available here. You can also create our own report. But actually, by default, you need to have that somewhere here itself. Okay, there you go. Okay, so you have application deployment detail status, deployment status. Yep, yep. So these are the ones that I was talking about. Go to the detail status, deployment type, or if you don't know the deployment ID, it's better you go to a different one. Deployment status. Mhm. This about a selected deployment using live data, display the status details. But right now, I think all of them are already completed. We don't have any live ones. Let me select Adobe Reader to this particular collections. The deployment type is 64-bit. I want to see where it went wrong. Nope. Okay, I'm not lucky today. I'm not able to get the report, it is only directly showing me the final end result, which is success. Fine guys, so we can also anyways create our own custom reports. So while creating custom reports, I will show you how to get the detailed information from the reports. But to give you an overview, so these are the default reports, and most of the permutation combinations are already covered here. Just in case if anything is not there, or if your leadership wants, specific data. If see some of the reports will have some junk data, like there are multiple columns which is of low or no interest to the leadership team, right? Then you can create your own report and remove all those columns or other junk values available here. So any questions in the default reports before I proceed with the creating custom reports on our own?
No, Manohar. Go ahead.
You're good, right? Okay. What about you, Manju?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. So let's go to creating our own reports. So before you want to create a report, the first thing you need to do is you need to have a query with you, right? So what is that you're going to query, and how you're going to get that data? So you need to have that part first. Say suppose the idea here is to know how many machines have Adobe Reader installed. Shall we create a report on that part? Or you can give me any kind of scenario so that we'll work and we'll create a query and build a report out of it. You can give me any scenario, guys.
Scenario. I'm just going to tell if it is related, then you can take. Some of the machines are triggering some alert, auto alert. So I'm trying to find out the machine owner name and details. Not able to find.
No, I didn't get that. See, what kind of report? What is the content that you're looking out for, Manju?
There is some server. Okay, there will be some server
Mhm.
which triggering auto alert that the utilization are more or something, etc. So I want to find out that machine. I'm getting a machine details, but not the owner detail. Who is last logon person for that? So such
Okay,
kind of
so
thing.
when you're saying alert, so if I understand correctly, you're talking about the performance of that particular server is low because some part of the maybe the CPU or memory or something is overutilized, and you wanted to know that. Am I right?
Yes, wanted to know the owner, who is the owner for that machine, so that I can reach him. Since I'm getting only machine details and
I
network
got it.
details,
I got it.
I'm getting the user detail that who is the owner handling, so that I can reach him and tell him that you do this like
I
that.
got it. I got it. Manju, the issue here is SCCM is getting inventory information. As you know, it is getting inventory information once in a week, or there is a periodic cycle. So there is no way that SCM will have the real-time data of when the particular server is overutilized or underutilized, right? So for that we have SCOM. SCOM is what is the one which is monitoring. So now if you want to create a report out of SCCM database, you will not have that information what you are seeking in the SCCM database, right? So that information will be there under SCOM database because that is the one which is monitoring the health of these servers. You getting me, Manju? So
Yeah,
we can create any custom report, but then the custom report is running against SCCM database, whatever the information which is available in SCCM database, and SCCM is not monitoring your health.
okay, okay. Actually, uh, not related to this, but yesterday there was one case. There is some software called NIMSoft, which is triggering auto alert, stating one machine name. So what case? Like I'm trying to find out the machine. I'm getting machine details from the SCM, but I'm not getting who is the owner. Since there are attributes called employee ID already set, so I'm trying to find where it is reflecting. I was not able to find where it is reflecting. I was checking with the console status
Okay,
where.
so let me assume this way. Let me assume this way that Okay, you already have whatever the alert or that's a different story because that is part of SCOM. But let me assume that you have a computer name and you wanted to find who is the owner of that computer name, right? Let me make it as simple as this. You have a computer name, you want to know who is the owner of it. Does that make sense,
Yeah,
Manju?
okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay, because alert part is entirely a different thing. But since you have already arrived till the computer name and all you wanted to know is who is the owner of that. So basically what
Yeah,
will
yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not including alert. It is just a matter to proceed.
I understood. I understood. So when you go to CM underscore May and go to views, all right, so I click new query. So both of you, have you ever worked on creating SQL queries? Have you ever written a SQL query?
No.
Not
Manju?
SQL. Sometime when I was in colleges learning Oracle, I used to do a lot of long back ago.
Okay, no issues. See, first of all, what we are trying to do is, you need to know the view or table where you have this particular information, right? So since I've worked on Sccm, I know that there's a view called v underscore r underscore system. Okay, if you go to views, okay, so basically views or tables are nothing but you can consider them as a table, view or even a table, both are the same. Just consider them as since you're new to this, just consider them as just one table with rows and columns, right? So you have here v underscore r underscore system, right? V underscore r underscore system, and this one when you're trying to see what is there, okay, so select top 1000 rows or 100 rows, so it will show the resource ID, resource type, okay, it is giving you active number, AD site and all that related to that computer. There is so much of information in this particular view, okay. So let's see, does it have anything related to application, the user as well. So you have the user administrator, right? The user domain and the username. So this is what actually you wanted to know: who logged in, what at what time he is logged in, last logon timestamp, and the user domain and username. Right, Manju? This is what you wanted to know, right?
Yeah.
Right. So now what I will do, but here the information is clumsy. So I want to know for a very specific machine. So when I say new query, I would say select. Select means I'm telling it what needs to be, what is the information that I need. So select. So let's, for example, till now I don't know what is the information I need. I will put select star. That means select everything from v underscore r underscore system, right? Where, what is that I know? I know the computer name. That's what Manju said, that he knows the computer name. So where, when you select, wait a minute, it is going to master database. Let me change it to the CM underscore. So where name here, the format in SCM is most of the things will have a 0 next to it, so just for ignore it. So where name 0 equal to, I know the exact name, it is maytest01. Okay, so I'm saying select everything from this particular view where the computer name is maytest01. I say execute. So it gives all the, instead of earlier it was giving me 4 rows, now it is giving only 1 row which is related to maytest01. Now I'm saying I don't want everything. All I need is, I need the computer name, then I need the username, right? That's what you require, right? Um, what is the exact attribute here? User underscore name 0. So you require user underscore name 0 and you require the user underscore domain 0, and then you need the last logon timestamp as well. Okay, so I read the computer name, username, user domain, and last logon timestamp. right? So these are the things I need. So execute. So this time you get only these 4 entries what you exactly need, right guys? Now what else you can do? You can, if the headings are not proper, you want to make changes to the headings. Okay, I think it should be written as computer name, and this needs to be written as username, as domain, and this one as last logon time, right? Now if I execute it, so computer name, username, domain, last logon time. Now it is much clear, Manju, the information what you're getting. Now we wanted to put it into a report. See, every time you cannot come to SQL Management Studio and run this query, right? You want to put it into a report. Fine. Let's create a report. So I'll go to the reporting piece here. I'll say a new folder, and I'll name the new folder as my reports. So where is my reports? Here you have my reports, right? Now I want to create a new report here, right? So you click on the report builder. Report builder is downloading for the first time, and then it will load. Just give it a couple of minutes. Done. Guys, you're following, right? What I'm trying to achieve here. You're able to follow me? Say run.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we did first, we have the requirements clear from the customer. So my customer is Manju. So Manju has given me a requirement that I want for every computer that I select, I want to know who is the user logged in and who is the, what is the domain, and when was the last time he logged into that. Right. So that information I have it as part of the inventory process. Now I'm saying, so accordingly I have created a query. I have the results, but now I want to have a report out of it. So I'll say a new report. I can have a blank report or table report. So we need a table here, right? So let me select table report, right? So either you can choose an existing data set. If you have a already existing a data set is there, you can select that. But since we don't have anything, this is the first time we are creating, create a new data set. So next, data source connection. So what you will do, browse and go to configuration may. There will be one data set connection which is already there in the default one, right? Under configuration may you will find one dataset connection. This will help you to connect to SQL database, right? So instead of you creating a data source connection, select the default data source connection which is already available under configuration manager underscore your site code, whatever is your site code in your production, you will have a data source there. Select that data source. You can also test connection if it is able to connect to the SQL server or not. Connection created successfully, so it is working fine. Say next. You can give the password. Okay. So either you can design the query right now, or if you already have a query, you can use that query. So I'll say edit as text. I already have the query, right? So I can copy paste from here. Control A, Control C. Say run, and just I can click on this button, which will run and show me the results to verify I'm getting the proper results. Run this. Yes, I'm getting the probably computer name, username, domain, and the last logon time. But I'm getting it very specific to May test01 because I've hard coded that in the query. But in the report, you don't want to have only information for May test01. The user should have an option to give any computer name, and he has to get information from any for any computer, right? So I'll remove this where condition, right? Say next. Now it is asking what are the values that you want. So I want the computer name. Just drag and drop them in the values. I want the domain and I want the last logon time. You can arrange the sequence. Say suppose first you want computer name, then you want domain, okay, then you want username, and finally last logon. So you can arrange that. Say next. Okay. Say next. So it is asking what is the theme. You want this color, this color. So okay, you say go with the corporate, standard corporate thing. Finish. So now you have it. Make it a little bit bigger if you want. Give it a title. Computer slash user details. Okay. So now you have a report which is giving all the information. Till now you have not put the drop down box. User, you need to have a drop down box, right? Till now you have not put the drop down box. So what will happen now is if you just see how the report would look like if you run, it is giving all the computer details, right? Computer name, domain, username, last logon time for all. It is not asking you for any drop down box. And one more thing here, the formatting is not proper. You might require some more space for last logon time. So go back to design, make it bigger. Fine. And now we need a drop down box, right? So what you'll do, guys, are you able to follow me? Any questions till now?
No, Manohar.
Okay,
No.
cool, good to know that. So when you click on dataset 1 and right click query, so this is where you can see the query, right? So I'm able to see the query. So I'll put here where name 0 equal to, I want to get a drop down box here, right? At name. So the moment you put at the rate, it will understand that that's a parameter. That's the value is not given. It should be something else. It's a parameter. So just select that, say okay. So now if you go under parameters, name parameter is created here. Okay, go to parameter properties. You can tell what should be it. Okay, what should be the prompt? It should be a text, or is it expecting an integer there? What? So a text, we are expecting a text there, right? And what are the available values? So if you want to specify any values in the drop down box, or you don't want to give anything, somebody has to type in there, right? So accordingly we'll select here, right? So say okay. Now run this. So now what you can see, you got a text box here. Earlier you don't have a text box. Now you got a text box. It is asking for you to put the parameter, right? You got a text box here. So you'll put May test 01 and say view report, right? It is only showing for this thing. Now your report is ready, right guys? Save this report. So it is asking where to save. Under configuration manager, you have created your own folder, my reports. Under my reports, I want this as my it's computer owner details, something like that, right? So I've saved my report. My report is saved. Close. So I'm done. Now if I refresh, I have this computer owner details report, which is created by me. Under my reports folder, I click this. So it is asking me to put the computer name. I know the name, view report. So now anybody can see who is the owner, what is the domain, last logon time. Clear, Manju?
Yeah.
Isn't it simple?
Yes.
The only thing you need to know here is the right view where you'll have this information. If you know, see, that's the question you asked me, like I want to know a computer owner. So the moment you asked it, I know where exactly it is. That comes out of experience. So similarly, if you start creating more and more reports, you'll know exactly under which view, which table you'll have the information. So if you want, we can run through it with one more example. Anil, do you have any other example? Anil, are you still online? I saw you offline a couple of minutes back. Okay, Anil left. Yeah, Manju, go ahead. Do you have any other report requirements, or shall I show you one more on my own?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So let me take one more example. Like as I was telling you, right? So how many machines have Google Chrome installed, right? Say suppose that's the kind of report that I wanted. Again, I'll go back. So the first thing I have to go back is to my SQL Management Studio. I see Anil arrived. Let me ask Anil. Anil, can you hear me?
Yes, Manohar, now I am able to hear.
Okay. So I was asking you, so I've shown one report, right? So is that report clear and simple? Did you follow the process?
Last 5 minutes I got disconnected. My laptop charging was done, so I haven't seen it.
Okay. Okay. So I was asking if you can give me any other scenario, I can create one more report because I've already created this report. I don't know if you have seen this far. Um, monitoring. So the final report, this is how it looks like. Wait a minute. Why is it asking me? Okay. So if you go here, I don't know if you have seen this under my reports, computer owner details. So now I'm getting a text box here and I can give my computer name, view report, right? So he gets its computer name, domain, username and last login time. You can change however you want, right guys? So now Anil, I was asking you, like similarly, if you want, if you have any other query, any other report requirement, if you tell me, I'll create that so that that will be one more revision for you. Any specific requirement, Anil? Nope, nothing.
No, yeah, you just take an example.
Okay, so I'm taking an example of Google Chrome. Okay, so I want to know how many machines have Google Chrome installed or how many machines have Adobe Reader installed. Okay, that's one way. Other way is in a particular computer, what are the different applications installed, right? So we can do both ways.
That we can do with this like applications or software inventory, right?
You mean to say that is available in the default reports? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you're right. You're right. So if I go back to my default reports, it should be there, but I don't know the kind of information it gives. If you typically software companies and products is there, and there should be one more. I guess underneath this you have that computers with a specific product, computers with a specific product name and version. Mm, you have products on a specific computer. Okay. Okay, this one, software registered in ad remove programs on a specific computer. You can go here, you can give the computer name, may test 01. So now it is showing you. So all the applications installed on this particular may test 01, all that is available from the ad remove programs, right? You have Adobe Reader, you have VLC Media Player, then you must be having even Google Chrome. Why not?
So in a similar way,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you're done, I can ask.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Yeah, in a similar way, if any requirement comes, I want to know what all the applications are running on your all computers. The default list, how that we can pull. It will come as how you pull now, or again something else we have.
No, no, I didn't get your question. So what was that?
Just now you pulled a default application list which is there available in a machines. So if a requirement comes you have running machines on your environment, how many not sure, but I want to know what all the applications are installed and running every machines. Default report, how many, what all the applications, that kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So you're saying that if you have 100 machines, you want to know that all applications running on all the machines, right? Yes, we can definitely do that. So typically what will happen is either, let's go with the business requirement. Right? What you're asking is definitely is achievable, right? That's a different story. But typically how the business requirement will come? Typically the business requirement will come like this, that we have a specific application and we wanted to know how many computers are using this application, because that will help them in their license management, or it might help them in planning for their next upgrade migration. Okay, that particular application they wanted to upgrade it, so they want to know how many computers and what are the computer names where already some say suppose Team Center or AutoCAD is already installed, AutoCAD so and so version is installed, so that tomorrow if they want to plan an upgrade, they want to know which are the computers to be targeted, right? So either it will be like per application and how many computers. That's one way. The other way is on a specific computer. Okay, say suppose they wanted to do some kind of migration to that computer from Windows 7 to Windows 10. So what are the applications that are installed on this machine, so that after moving to Windows 10, I have to make sure that all those applications are again back, right? So either it will be like per computer, what are the applications? The requirement might come like this, or per application what are the computers, right? But since you asked for it, like all computers with see, if you see here, you have computers with specific software registered in attribute. That's what I was telling you. So now if you have the software title filter, like okay, what is the computer percentage reader percentage, I think I can get this, select a value. I say in all systems, wherever Adobe Reader percentage is there, Adobe Reader is there, please pull that out. So it says it is only there on Meet S01 and the display name is Adobe Reader. Right? If I know the exact name, I can give the exact name. So in all the systems, whichever computer has Adobe Reader, this report will give that information to you. Right, Manju? But if you don't want to put any any filter, you want to get all computers and all information. So just go to your query. Say new query. This time you'll have this information under your v underscore add remove programs. Right? So don't worry about the kind of views names I'm giving. As I told you, it comes only through experience. The more and more reports you create, you'll understand that. So it is like select star from v underscore add remove programs. Okay, so this is the report. So now I'm saying from this view, select star. That means I want everything. That is what you asked, right? I want on every single machine, all the applications. That's what I want. So there's nothing to filter here. You're asking for everything. But now I don't want this junk data like resource ID, group ID, division ID, and all that. Right? All I need is the product ID, the display name, install date, publisher and version. So this has this information, but it doesn't have the computer name information anywhere. Right, guys? So all it has is the resource ID information. Right? And you know that the computer name will be under select star from v underscore r underscore system. If you go here, this is where you will have computer name. Yeah, you have the computer name here, and you also have resource ID here. So what you can do is join these two on resource ID. So let me do this. So what I'll do is I'll remove this part. I'll say select star from v underscore add to remove programs, join v underscore r underscore system. Where should I join? I should join on the resource ID because that is common for both of them, on. So before writing on where it should join, let me give a small name to this. Instead of writing again v underscore add remove programs, I'll call it ARP and I'll call it sys. Now I'm saying join this add remove programs. The shortcut name is ARP. That is just any name I can give. I gave IRP. Join v underscore system. The shortcut name is sys on where ARP dot resource ID. So under ARP there is resource ID. That should be equal to your under system you have one resource ID. So join these two tables on that particular thing. Now if I execute, I'll get information like not only resource ID and all this information, I'll also get at the end computer name also, right? I'm also getting the computer name. Now I don't want all these details. I just need specific data. Let's make it clear. I want name 0. I want the display name, right? Display name is the application name. Then I want the version, and what else I want? Application name, version, computer name. That's enough, right? So, and maybe I can even get the install date. When is this application installed? These are the 4 details that I need. So execute. Now it says computer name, application name, version, install date. Only that information I have. I don't have any other details. Right guys? Is this clear? Are you following me, Manju and Anil?
Yes, Manohar.
Okay. So I can change this as, let's make it more readable. This is computer name. Display name is application name. Version 0 as version. And install date 0 as installed date. Right? So now I have computer name, application name, version, install date. Now I have this information. Now what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to create a report. So what I will do, going back to the same thing, go to report builder. So this time it will not run again. So it will not ask you to install and do that. It is already installed. It should directly open your report builder. I mean to say it did not download this time. It directly asks you to run the report builder. Okay, click on table. Okay, create a data set. So by default you're taking the same data service source connection. The password here. So all these steps we did it for the first report also, right? The same steps. Okay, I told edit as text and put these values here, right? So if you run, wait a minute, looks like I did not copy the right query. Control A, Control C. This was our earlier query. Okay, now if you run, I get all the computer name, application name and all the other details. So next, I want computer name, application name, version and install date. Okay, so I want a different theme this time. Finish, make it bigger, center, make it center, this one, and ARP for all computers, add new programs for all computers, right? Now if I run this, I'm getting the computer name, application name, version, install date. So let me save this report now. Save under my reports. Name it ERP for save. Done. So go to your my reports. Okay, now you have a new report, ERP for all computers. There you go. So in our scenario, in our lab, we just have MateS01 where the client agent is installed. So that's the reason it is showing only MateS01 with all the applications installed. Say suppose if you have 100 machines, it will show for all 100 machines, it will show the computer name, application installed, version and details. Clear, Manju?
Yes.
So Anil, are you confident with this creating custom reports?
Yes, Mano, but I need to practice these queries in SQL once.
Yeah.
It's completely new for me.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So,
So, but this piece is very interesting. So, if you keep on exploring, if you just have access to your SQL Management Studio in your production environment, so what I would say is keep exploring the different views, tables, because all that you are doing in the Management Studio is you're doing a query. Always you say you're saying select. If you are doing select, that means you're just fetching the data. That is not going to harm your database in any ways, unless until if the query what you write is very complex and it is affecting the performance of the server to fetch all the information. Say suppose you have joined multiple tables, multiple views and trying to get all the different kinds of information, right? Only in that case the performance will affect. Otherwise, I think you can keep on exploring and see, okay, what will happen, what will be there under v underscore add remove programs, what will be there under v underscore system if I check r underscore system, or like that. If you keep on checking different views and see what information is underneath that, so that tomorrow whenever you have any such requirement, you will understand, this information is available under so and so view, so I can create a query out of it. Right, guys? So keep exploring the database. If not in production, at least in your lab, since if you have already built the lab, right? These are the default views tables which are already created, right? So this is what we are doing now is in the lab itself, not in the production, right? So all these views and tables are created as part of your SCM installation. So you will have these same views and tables in your lab environment. So keep exploring at least in the lab environment. Okay. So we are done with the reporting services part, uh, unless and until you have any questions. Any other questions in this session? Or let me quickly summarize what we did here. So basically what we did in today's session is we have first checked for reporting services point what are the prerequisites. The prerequisites are SQL needs to be installed, SSRS needs to be installed, and then IAS with some features. Right, we have checked SQL is there, SSRS, all these were installed as part of initial SQL installation. So while doing initial SQL installation, we have selected reporting services native, right? Because of that, this particular piece has been installed. So what we did later, we came to the administration node, we have added a new site role called reporting services point, right? So we've checked the log files to ensure that the reporting services point is installed. After that, we were able to see both in the console. In the console, if you click on reports, you have all those folders here. Earlier, you don't have these folders, right? So now in the console, you can see all the folders, and whichever folder you click, you will have respective reports, and you can run these reports not only from the web console, you can also run these reports even from the Sccm console as well, run, right? So you can get the report here itself within a window. So that way, we have looked into the reports both from the console as well as from the URL. And after that, there was a query on how to restrict permissions. So we have looked into the security scopes and we have created account John and we have given him read-only access, read-only analyst, and we also gave him operating system deployment manager. We have seen how to create accounts in SCM console and how to give them respective security roles and security scopes, right? So after that, we looked into some of the default reports which comes with Sccm, and we have also looked into how to create our own custom reports. Right? Whenever you have to create a custom report, first make the requirements clear with the customer or your business, whoever is coming up with the requirement, make it clear and make sure that if all that information is there in your CM database, like the question that what Manju asked, like the what are the servers which are overperforming or underperforming, that information might not be there in your SCCM real time. It might have the inventory data. Say suppose your hard disk space is consumed more than 90%, is right. That information after a week time or whenever the inventory comes to the SCM database, it will know. Okay, on C drive, almost 90% of the space has been utilized, but you cannot get a real-time data. For that, you have SCOM anyways, right? So when customer comes with a requirement, first of all, filter out what kind of information can be available from SCM and what is not. Then go ahead and write a query, okay, in the SQL Management Studio. Go to your report builder, copy paste this query. So accordingly, you can create a table there, and then you can format the table. And if you have any specific requirements, like you want a data drop down list or a text box, I've showed you how to create a text box by going with add parameters, right? And similarly, if you want to have the second report, when we looked into the second report, the information is not available in just in one view. Like you have the add remove programs in one view, but you don't have the computer name in that. So when you have such kind of information in the query, you need to make sure that you are joining multiple views to get that information, right? So from one view, we got the display name, version, and installed it. And from the other view, we got the computer name. So that's how we created a query, and we have built a custom report, right, guys? So any questions, or shall we wind up? So that tomorrow morning I'll start fresh with operating system deployments. Let's wind up.
Yeah, Manu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anil. Thanks, Anil. Thanks, Manju. So see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Manu. Bye.